the jungle, which means I would like to maybe see Shadow play the Lee Sin. This is something that he was very, very famous for in the LEC in 2020. He was very, very good on that pick on Mad Lions, and honestly, go for it. Why not? Of course, the Rumble is there as well, but I just want to see him play something that has a little bit more proactivity.
I mean, he was so good at it, it actually gave him a negative stigma with, you know, the community later on, right? Of like it being the only champion he could play. Yeah. We've seen so far this split that is definitely not true by any means, but the fact that he just was such a standout on this last year is always exciting. A bit surprised V5 aren't the ones to go for that themselves, just for the fact that it has also been PZX's go-to pick. And now when we're looking at what LGD can go for here, they can always opt back into the Gwen. I feel like Gwen does just give you a lot of decent options later on in terms of team fighting, has a strong laning phase. But instead, wanting to keep Kramer on something that does have that long range, does bring the utility, he's going to have a stronger laning phase this time around with the Varus.
A lot more priority, as you say. V5 seeing what they want to go for. I quite like the Tristana. I think if you can combo that up, you could just jump in level 2, maybe get a Leona, combo in with that. Just go for a pure kill lane. Look for something on that bottom side for V5. But no, they're actually going to lock in the Tahm Kench, which was banned in the first game. So a little bit of a flex. You can put it down to Reheal, or it can go to Aliez as well. A lot of different options here for V5.
And if they do go for it down on the bot side, right, you would expect something maybe like a Jinx or some other long-range scaler to come out, even despite with the changes with the W to the ultimate. I prefer Tahm Kench a lot more as a top laner. I feel like you just have so many more aggressive options in the support role. It doesn't feel like you offer all too much anymore. The Kalista coming out as well. So Victory 5 just going to all in back on their strengths, as they always do, right? They're always going to pick these compositions that do have the onus to get action going in the early game. And for LGD, I mean, ooh, that would have been a fun one. I was gonna say for a potential last game, bringing out something like Camille, which has been Fearness standout. But hey, I feel like the same thing goes with this in the jungle role, right? If you're gonna decide to put Shadow back on the Rumble, I'll hold my breath because technically still a flex pick, right? Can be put into a soul lane even if we don't see it anymore.
Yep, we probably will see the Rumble going into Shadow's hands. It has been something that he's played quite a lot this split, and LGD just going to ban away mid laners, as are V5. Actually, V5 technically could be banning top laners as well, as we do see the Rise and the LeBlanc banned away. I want to see, with this composition that V5 have for themselves, I want to see them maybe go for something a little bit more aggressive into the mid lane. Anyway, you've got yourself the Kalista and the Olaf, two very, very good early game champions, but if you're just throwing in a scaling comp into that as well, it just negates a lot of what you can do, in my opinion, with that aggressive bot side. So right now, we'll see where they want to go. They banned the Camille and the Jace to round out the bans, and they are going to be their last bans, potentially, if they don't win this game of the LPL 2021.
And now for LGD, I'm looking at potential support picks coming out. You can save that Lee Sin as a flex between your soul lanes, and again, potentially jungle, even though we don't expect it. As, ooh, they're going to go for the opposite, and they're just going to pick up the Gwen outright. So, we know we have Gwen in top. You would expect Lee Sin mid, maybe Rumble jungle. Could be vice versa, right? 2 AP soul lanes in an AD jungler, I think makes a lot more, not a lot more sense, but feels a lot better in terms of those 2v2s coming out. For V5, we are going to get a Tahm Kench up in the top lane with Reheal bringing out the Thresh. And you said you wanted to see something more aggressive in the mid lane. We hit on aggressive mid laners earlier on, but it doesn't feel like we're going to get it. Hey, we saw it. We saw the Zoe.
He's just cycling through them. He's literally pressed the mid lane tab in the client, and he's going to probably pick Orianna, which is upsetting to me. It is a good team fighter, of course. Good for Uniboy to have that, to be able to protect his Kalista as well. As we get the insta-lock Nautilus into that bot side. So it's Hook City here in the bot lane, but Lee Sin mid, Gwen top, and Rumble in the jungle, as both teams are locked and loaded for what could be potentially their final game of the LPL 2021 season. See if they can end it on a high. Who are you leaning towards after everything's all locked and loaded?
I feel like there's no way not to lean towards LGD, right? I mean, LGD at least have like a sort of consistency that you can believe in. Maybe it's not like a high level of, you know, they're consistently above like our bottom tier playoff teams, but you know what level to expect from LGD pretty much every game, right? They're going to beat the teams under them. They're going to lose to the teams above them. So the composition, I think, bringing out the Rumble, a bit weird, has been a Shadow favorite. This could potentially be the last game, like you said. So having that there, Lee Sin, I think, having a lot easier time against an Orianna compared to Rumble. We've seen a lot of mid lane mages have such a hard time really being able to whittle down Lee Sin and get him out of lane with the safeguard available. Once you do get that Iron Spike Whip, you are just completely chilling anyway and pushing out the wave. So for LGD, they do have good team fight setups. For Victory 5, they are all inning on that early game once again, despite bringing out that Orianna as well.
All inning on the early game, but can they transition? That is the question. LGD 1 game away from getting themselves up to 7-9 in the split. Will give them a game difference score of -3 and still outside of playoffs, sadly for them. But still a good score nonetheless. And for V5, you're just looking for a game. You're looking for that 4th game win to maybe push yourself to a final series game 3 and maybe, just maybe, get yourself to that 1-15. It'll all happen on the Rift and on this game as we see the V5 Sky coming into the Rift. Ever since they discovered the Skybox in League of Legends, it has been a wealth of creativity. As V5 now moving up towards this top side, just trying to see if they get much vision or much control. They're going to be able to tongue lash every now and again. But Kramer, you're in a little bit of trouble here, buddy. Yep, he's going to have to flash. I don't know why you're there. There's no reason for you to be there.
50 seconds. I mean, they were trying to do like the 5-point stack in terms of, you know, like where they're covering on the map. The big thing is that Mark put his ward down, recalls to have the sweeper while Kramer is still trying to hold that position. V5 with a nice punish. Now they're definitely going to have a ton of pressure in this 2v2 laning phase. We're going to see if PZX can also capitalize on the fact of no Kramer flash. Is a bit of trading coming out.
Yeah, Mark taking a lot of damage from that Ren. We talked about the early skirmishing power. The minions aren't even here yet. We can see that both these bot lane duos going at each other's throats, and with that flash not being on Kramer, I like seeing this from the side of V5. Be aggressive, get in their face, make them uncomfortable, make sure you are making this lane as difficult as possible. If they're going to win, they're going to have to beat you.
Especially when you have the Hail of Blades against the lethal tempo, right? Being able to get those quick 3 autos out as compared to just like the general attack speed that Kramer is going to get. Still, Kramer and Mark going to be able to keep the wave push for the first wave, so going to be able to get a bit of pressure for themselves. This could potentially set up a gank for PZX, depending if V5 can try and keep that wave like at a neutral position where it is right now. So you always got to be looking out for that one. In Shadow, we know we expect him to clear till he does get to that level 6 point. Rumble not offering too much on his own in terms of early skirmishes or early gank action. There is a bit of setup there in your bottom half of the map with the Nautilus, but with the no flash on your Varus, with the fact you also assume that Olaf is pathing towards that side, I don't think a 3v3 is anything that LGD should be looking for.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that as we see the bot side. It's getting pushed in. Level 2 was hit first by the LGD bot side, so they are the ones who have got the pressure going. Now level 2 has been hit. You might see a flash flay onto Kramer, and it's unfortunate that they are unfortunately relegated to just waiting to see if they can find an opportunity. Very difficult to make anything going, and now you can see with that pressure LGD have, they're pushing up, they're getting vision in that tri-brush, they're basically making sure Kramer doesn't get caught with his flash down.
Yeah, so they are respecting, quite nice from them. Don't have any wards that they're able to put into Tri-Brush, which is a little bit disappointing. Looks like Shadow and LGD know that without that flash, V5 should be looking for this, so they're going to be at least hovering around waiting for PZX to show himself. But PZX is level 4, Shadow's only level 3.
There we go, flash in with the flay. They're going to get the heal out of him, and they're going to try jump down onto Kramer. Can he get the last auto attack off into Reheal? No, he can't. TP coming in here from Fearness and from Xiye, but the rest of LGD need to run away here. PZX there, throws it under toe, gets himself a little bit of damage, but V5, again, good early game, good response, and get themselves first blood.
It's just so strange that LGD know to expect it, but seem to like back off the pedal right before V5 make the play. It opens up for the one pick to come out. All TPs coming out across the board, so no team going to be able to punish any sort of window now to come out, and neither side really losing too much in terms of where the waves were at. So we're going to go straight into a replay on this one. Reheal going for the flash into the play to keep Kramer behind the play. We do see Reheal able to get away in the end as the damage does come out onto Kramer. Then all the TPs follow up, and we come back out to what is, you know, normal laning phases. I mean, you were hitting on how LGD should be looking to opt into any sort of 3v3. I think Shadow just wanted to cover, but for LGD, I feel like your bottom lane just doesn't contest when the wave is in a neutral position there. You probably do have to give up bot side skittle, just look top where your Gwen was already winning out, and just accept the consequences of Kramer potentially making that early mistake.
And in their defense, LGD didn't opt into a 3v3. They opted in for a 5v5, and then it became a 5v4, so they opt out. So, you know, you don't want to be the actually guy, but actually, as we now see PZX up on his top side. No vision on him right now, and there's no flash here for Fearness. Has got his ghost. He's going to get pushed back down the bot side with his ghost available to him. You can see he actually might just look for this fight here. His shadow is around, and no one really going to be taking too much damage to themselves. Aliez will be able to sustain this one back up, and you can see now Shadow roaming up to try and just escort his top laner back into the minion wave.
Yeah, Aliez not able to get the knock-up or small stun when he did go in with that W, so Fearness going to be able to kite away. Is Mark going to be starting to play up towards his top half of the map. Uniboy not in a position where he is giving over windows to the gank, pulling the lane towards the top side and on his side of the lane. So pretty nice coming out from him. Does have a small CS lead, but we hit on how it is pretty hard to force Lee Sin out of lane with the amount of sustain and defenses he does have early on coming out from his shield. Also very easy for him to just turn and push the lane with his E, so Uniboy going to do accept any small gains he can get. And we've seen Fearness continuously able to just stack this wave onto Aliez with just the threat of trades coming out with his E from early on. The thing I don't like about this Penguin is, like I said, to me, New Tahm Kench feels like a bit of a stat stick, to where when he's ahead, he's extremely oppressive because of those early base stats coming out, but when he's behind, you still provide a bit of utility with your ultimate, but you don't provide all that much. You definitely don't do too much in a team fight. Ooh, that was close for Reheal.
It was very close, and now Shadow flashes over. The re-hook from Reheal wasn't quite there, and that's just a summoner burn here by the side of LGD. V5 happy with that. They could maybe look for the dragon. They've got the Olaf and the Kalista on the bot side. They know that Shadow isn't going to be feeling super confident of that, but no, they're just going to immediately back themselves up. There is pings from LGD going down saying, look, they might be doing it.
And I'm with you. I feel like Victory 5 would be a very easy window for them to go for this, where there's really nothing else up on the map. Blue buff is up on top side for PZX, but I think you can expect Shadow to path there after, you would assume his reset coming out after the back. So for Victory 5, I'd like to still see them capitalize on this dragon play. Heck, even look at it. LGD checking right now. They really thought that was the play to go through. And for LGD, we need to start see them playing towards his top side. Is Uniboy?
Oh, he's in trouble. Does dodge out from everything, but has to blow his flash in order to maintain safety. They, of course, had the missing pings going on to Marks. They assumed that he roamed up towards that dragon pit. Confirmed there by Reheal. And a little bit of a missed opportunity, in my opinion, I gotta say, from V5. They could have taken a very early Drake. They could have gotten themselves stacking up, and they could have gotten themselves in a winning position earlier on with an early objective.
The thing is, they might not have been able to keep up that tempo to look for a Rift Herald play on top side. So that could be like the potential thought process coming out from V5, where they have to stay bot, take the Drake, go then back down to bot lane to answer the waves, get that in a pushing state where you can find the recall, and then move up top side. I still think they probably did have enough time to go for all that and look for display top, but that's only my guess to V5's thought process, but they're going to make their way onto this Rift Herald first. Their bot lane is already here with Kepler answering waves in mid and Reheal just hovering in river. Uniboy did go for a base and doesn't have TP, so there is always like threat of some shenanigans coming out for LGD, but LGD just looks like they're going to concede this one.
Yep, they're just going to back themselves away, move down towards that bot side. You can see Kramer and Shadow on your screens now moving down towards that dragon. And that's going to be a trade of objectives. So V5 looking for gold and power now versus the power later for LGD. However, they might still end up getting a fight as the rest of V5 are crashing back into this mid lane, but they're just baiting it out. They have a lot of good vision control here by the side of LGD. Should they want to go for it hard to get Mark over the wall without his flash? There he goes. We are going to see the Zhonya's into the Fate's Call, and Mark ends up going down. The Equalizer does not do enough damage to kill off the Reheal support. That's just another good pick-off here from V5.
And Mark wants to commit, right? They think they have the angle because they are fighting in a choke. But like you said, the damage not exactly there yet. A lot of members of V5 able to get out of the Equalizer and still put down damage, like we saw from Uniboy in that play. And it opens up for another pick from Victory 5. So Victory 5 staying consistent with their identity. They are very proficient at finding some of these early leads, some of these early picks, though. I guess when it comes to this one was more of LGD picking themselves. As we're going to see here, right, they have the vision. They know what V5 are coming. They think they have the choke point angle to look for this. But look at Kepler and Uniboy. They're not even taking any damage from the Equalizer. Reheal was in it to try and find the counter engage onto Mark. But in the end, able to get away.
Yep, able to back themselves out and, of course, get themselves about a 400 gold lead. It is basically just a little bit of a kill or two on their back pockets, as we do have Aliez pushing in this top side, keeping the pressure onto Fearness. And this is just kind of posturing around this dragon. I don't really expect LGD to fully commit to it. I say they're happy enough to let it go should it end up going to the hands of V5, excuse me. And yeah, like I said, nothing really going to be coming out of it just out of that. V5 happy enough to just keep farming, and LGD happy to do the same.
We're finally seeing top laners reset, because if you look at Aliez items, right, and Fearness just getting his back off, they've been sitting on quite a bit of gold for a while now, so now going to be waiting for Aliez to find that recall as well. Probably will have to utilize his TP to get back to lane so he doesn't miss out on anything. And just echoing your sentiments, I want to see PZX just make his way down towards bot once again. Your bot still has pressure. Pick up that dragon. If LGD want to contest, I feel like you're still favored in fights right now in terms of where your Kalista and Olaf are at. But even if they don't opt into it, right, stacking up those dragons when you are a composition that pick Kalista, you're the composition that has the rend, you have the Olaf as well. It feels like getting some of these on the board earlier and forcing an earlier soul fight or an earlier elder contest is exactly what you want to be looking for as V5 when you're going to be dealing with Rumble later on in the game and how much his equalizer will be doing. The Varus is going to do more than the Kalista with the range he provides. Fearness on the Gwen. Like, there's just so many things for LGD that go better later on.
Yeah, well, the TP was expended by Aliez top side to make sure he ate up all of those minions. Fearness making his way down towards mid lane means that LGD do have the priority in mid and in top, so they are the ones who pick up the dragon. And yeah, like, I know we talked about V5 being great and proactive in the early game, but this feels like a missed opportunity from them on this side. They do lose themselves a Drake, which is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination, and is going to be a cloud next on the menu. So right now you just can't really see much for, and I suppose this comes down to my question of, are we going to see the Devourer coming out? This could be a little bit more damage. They're not going to land the Q though. They are going to get the needlework out of Fearness's Gwen, but with Rift Herald now being dropped in mid lane, it's not going to get much more than just the 2 plates. And yeah, I don't know. It just feels like V5 are playing a bit too safe for this potentially being their last game of the season. It feels like they're being a little bit too respectful of everything going on and not going for the obvious wins.
I don't know if respectful is necessarily the right word. Like, I get the feel you're going for, right? Like, they're missing windows, but it's like they're still making plays. They're still hovering around sides of the map. They're just kind of valuing trying to find kills or lane ganks or PZX, like, hovering those laners rather than looking for either invades into the enemy jungle to get vision or things like the dragon, which we talked about a lot. Like, there's a lot of other things they can be looking for, but it seems like they're very set on, hey, I want to help my lanes so we can try and find kills around this. And it's like, that's not your only avenue, and LGD aren't giving over those windows, so definitely missing out on certain plays. They do have a 300 gold lead, so, you know, when it comes to Victory 5, we're always going to look for those silver linings. Let's go. V5 is Shadow. Can we get something done?
I don't think he can. There should be enough of an escape there, but there is the equalizer down as Aliez is going to be burning down his shield, but Fearness has to be very, very careful. The flash will be burnt there by the Tahm Kench. Like I said, he's a stat stick. He is so difficult to actually take down, especially when he's got the Frostfire Gauntlet onto him. Now, he actually went back and bought that straight out. There was just no kill pressure between Fearness and Aliez at all in the first 10, 12 minutes of the game that he was able to pick that one up straight away. But now PZX is here, and now they're going to try and see if they can catch up onto him. They are going to take down that first kill. That's going to be the flash forward. 2 TPs coming in onto this as well. Xiye should be able to safeguard back to his Rumble, as he does. Shockwave lands onto Shadow. We might have the Lee Sin kick back underneath the tower, but no Undertow shall land. But a nice Sonic Wave from Xiye does trade this one back. It ends up being a 2-for-2. Now we can go out towards this bot side. The Chain of Corruption on the box has been landed, but those auto attacks are going in. Kepler and Reheal are still pushing forward, and they will take the 2v2 kills all to themselves. They'll get one more auto attack and the rend. Is it enough? He needs like one auto attack. I don't know. There it is. He's waiting for the rend cooldown to come back off of it, and that ends up being overall a trade of 3 for 2 in favor of V5.
Man, we did not see how that bot side skirmish started, but getting 2v2 killed by Victory 5's bot lane is not it. We're actually going to make our way up towards the top side. I'm really surprised Victory 5 had the confidence to look for this this bait. I think they knew, like, there's no way you can't expect Aliez to go down in that situation. Fearness, though, it is a 1-for-1, and this was pretty close. Uniboy able to get the shockwave onto Shadow, but sadly not onto Xiye. I was a little bit scared here that if Xiye kicked him in and then PZX finds an axe, maybe you pick up another one, but not able to do it as we do get into the bot side. If they're trying to threaten plates and take vision, I think a bit disrespectful from LGD and how they're playing this one. Victory 5's bot lane spiking really hard, in my opinion, a lot harder once you do have those ultimates available to look for the engage and then the re-engage with the Fate's Call, and they're able to pick up this one 2v2. So just overall, I think Kepler and Reheal with a lot better read of how the matchup goes.
Just feeling their confidence, feeling their power, even with the Immortal Shield bow being picked up here by Kramer, wasn't enough to keep him safe and alive. Shadow is around on this bot side to try and make something happen. Maybe as PZX on the top end, just taking away the scuttle on for his own. So they'll now see him walking in, so they're going to back themselves up. They'll probably lose this turret. Nothing really you can do about that. If you stay, you lose your life. If you leave, you lose minions. So it's a catch-22. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And now LGD can start to look around the map a little bit more, start looking for a little bit more advantages, as they do know exactly where the mid laner and jungler of V5 are on this Rift Herald.
So you would expect a trade to come out, right? Because LGD can keep pressuring down this bottom side. Dragon's going to come up in 30 seconds, so LGD have complete control of that one. So LGD can be the team to start stacking Drakes. Victory 5 potentially can try and use his tempo on top side, clear some of these camps out as PZX, and then maybe you can drop Rift Herald down either on top side or rotate your bottom lane down mid, but you're just giving over so much for free to LGD in return for a Rift Herald.
Yeah, you're giving over 2 towers, and the Rift Herald maybe gets you a tower. That's the big difference. You got the Rift Herald, but you'll be able to trade back a tower here. By the time these resets come in, they should be able to defend the tier 2, so not really too concerned here for LGD. They are going to throw Fearness up on this top side. Doesn't have Ghost, but has got TP available to him. Rift Herald will get the charge off and get that first tower down. So it's still a trade of 1-for-1 in that regard, but the Dragon being taken as well here by the side of LGD means they are still winning on the objective game. Shadow completely unperturbed, uncontested, and should be able to just walk back up towards mid and maybe even threaten towards this top side of mid lane as we see Fearness jumping in. Does have the needlework down onto Kepler, who does get himself out with the Dark Passage, but PZX not going to be as lucky. He tried to get over to the wall to maybe get himself out, but not quite able to do it. Shadow, though, gets caught by a shockwave into the Fate's Call, and Kepler picks up that one. So LGD almost had a perfect rotation, but sadly for them, they end up trading it back.
Just really greedy pathing coming out from Shadow in that one. I wonder if Mark can find something, but Victory 5 hovering towards the bottom side of the map. I really like the way LGD played that, right? Because first of all, not a great trade by V5 by any means, right? Rift Herald for 2 turrets and a Dragon. But the second Victory 5 see Dragon going down, I think they assume there are still multiple members of the map down on bottom side. But you look, Xiye and Mark playing in Fog of War do eventually engage after V5 full commit to trying to get this tier 2 so they don't lose out too much in the on the play. They are going to pick him off, but Shadow taking a bit of a greedy route as we see on our mini-map, trying to force his way in. Actually, yeah, I'm not quite sure, because drops the Equalizer as well. I don't think there's any way where he thought he could have been able to pick up that kill. Uniboy also having flash as well, and you know LGD's members would still be up to V5's members would still be like hovering in your topside jungle. So, bit of a mistake coming out. He does get punished.
Well, mid lane is almost down. They've got a top lane tier 2, very, very close to death as well. Both Immortal Shield bows being finished by both AD carries. But important to note that there's a 3-0-2 Kalista versus a 0-2-0 Varus with about a 15 or so CS lead on top of him. So gold lead still in favor of LGD as they were the ones to take up the objectives, but they have got the Dragon stacking for them as well. That's an Infernal Soul, so this is a soul that can end the game very, very quickly for LGD if they can stack that one very, very soon. So we now see Reheal finding Mark in the jungle. Shadow as well, going to drop down a pink ward and keep that vision as dark as possible. And still got a lot of summoners here available to the side of V5. They may look to go for, they actually have all their summoners available, as do everyone on LGD, bar the Ignite on Mark. And looks like LGD recognize that they're looking for a bit of a sneaky kill if they can find it, but Uniboy Not exactly sure where everyone is, but now Shadow might be in a little bit of trouble. He completely whips the ult and actually gets the shockwave off just before the Devour, and now Xiye hits himself over the wall, forced to flash away. Shadow taking so much damage. He's almost dead. He's dead. 4-0-2 now for Kepler, and V5 may have found themselves a fight. No! Aliez cannot get the skin going, and that's 2 kills back for this Varus. Fearness is massive on this Gwen and just keeps snipping through the health bars. It is going to be V5 gaining 1 or 2, but losing 4. It is just so difficult to see. They will, however, keep Reheal alive. Just about. He's trying to get the Q off, but a Uniboy will soak that one up. Flash forward. Not quite sure this is going to work out for you, Mark. It will. I lied. Mark knew everything. It was all a bait. Even pops up the top hat. And now LGD have themselves a 3,000 gold lead. Mid lane turret. They're going to be able to get control over this Dragon Pit and get themselves on the soul point in 2 minutes.
That was a really nice play coming out from Mark and Xiye at the end to secure their last kill. They get another objective off the play. They keep up vision control. I mean, almost 4k gold up at this point. There's a really nice sequence of events. As here we're going to see that they look for the pick, and I assume with the equalizer, he either is trying to cut off the path, knowing that Xiye is on the opposite side, or was maybe guessing he would pivot towards that side. I don't think it is just like a complete whiff of the ultimate. Will still go down, but the other members of LGD are already able to get here. I think with Fearness especially being a critical one, doing so much with this needlework, going through multiple members, lays down the W as well. Kramer giving a lot of space to just continuously free hit with both Mark and Fearness standing in front of him. And then Xiye following through on the opposite side. As we don't get to see the cool outplay, but Uniboy looks like he's caught out.
Xiye missed the Q, or did he, as he got himself right behind the Orianna. They will get the teleport in with the Devour. Nice little bit of shielding there for Uniboy, and now all of a sudden V5 have themselves a bit of headway. All these ultimates are down for LGD, and they're being collapsed upon. Shut down onto Xiye, shut down onto Fearness, and that's 2 quick kills. Baron is up. This could be an opportunity for V5.
And what a tragic throw coming out from LGD, where not all their members were there, and they were trying to funnel in one by one, but V5 easily able to get all their members there, especially with the double TP coming through. I think this should be a Baron. They got to be careful. Shadow does have Smite, but no equalizer.
No equalizer. They don't want the Baron to be 50-50, so he's going to try it straight away. Chain of Corruption does go down. They trade back the support for the top laner. V5, though, can they go back onto this Baron? I don't think they can. They kind of need to run back down towards this Dragon, because that's up in 4 seconds. That will put LGD onto Infernal Soul point as Reheal. Oh, nicely done there. Gets himself off on the hook. Shadow goes down, and then they can maybe look for Kramer, as they can kind of just keep pushing on top of this one. Reheal just being a little bit of a nuisance. They jump straight on top of him. Kramer gets one back, but not able to get it back. It is a delayed ace at the end of it all. LGD just giving back so much gold, and the gold is only about 1,000, maybe 2,000 in favor of them now.
I mean, getting one back, I think, is still nice for Kramer. Had he been able to get 2, it would have been, I think, like really significant. Is we're gonna see what happens here. Originally, Xiye coming in with the TP behind to punish Uniboy, but look at the mini-map. You see Kramer's only just leaving base, where V5's members are in river or have TP available, like the Tahm Kench, to get here. So it's very easy for V5 to find numbers advantage. Uniboy able to survive with the help from Aliez and his ultimate. Xiye now just going to be caught between a rock and a hard place. And Kramer not able to get involved. Nautilus not finding a good window to come into the fight. And it's going to open up the Baron for Victory 5. Not able to finish it. I'm a bit surprised LGD turned so soon, because they are going to drop a control ward, I think, right now. And still going to feel the need to force their way in with Baron on 7k. Does end up working on the end, with kills being traded back and forth between both sides, but Penguin, more fighting.
More fighting. Aliez is dead. There's nothing he can do. He has no damage. Like you said, he's a stacked stick, so he is 0-4-4 on this Tahm Kench. Has got some decent CS numbers, but not really the Tahm Kench top we are used to seeing. Does now have got his Dead Man's Plate, so got a little bit of extra movement speed as Reheal and the rest of V5 move forward to try and gain some vision control on this top side. It is still soul point gathered by LGD. They got that while the replay was on, so they are still very much in control of this game. And I think Fearness on this Gwen has just been the little bit of a difference maker for the side of LGD. Just Gwen as a whole just having so much priority and having so much damage the later the game goes on, that I just don't see anyone really dealing with her from the side of V5.
Yeah, and it's sad that V5 weren't comfortable enough to try and pick it themselves in either game. Is Gotta be cautious. Potential more picks always able to come out. We saw the hook that Reheal was able to hit last time around. Now with no dragon on the board, I mean, LGD have already gotten both inner and outer bot lane turrets. For LGD, they only need to keep their focus on this top side of the map. We even see Xiye having a push out in top side, so potentially can start pushing your way into enemy jungle for a bit of shallow vision to come out and see if you're able to force some picks off enemy mistakes from Victory 5.
Well, we'll see. 3 minutes until that Infernal Soul point does spawn. And that's going to be the point of contention, you would imagine. I like this crit build coming out from the side of Kramer. Just means that he can shred through something like the Tahm Kench should he need it. But a good hook onto the Lee Sin. Xiye, though, just says, I can go for this. But he flashes forward, misses the Q after the ultimate. And now V5 have an opportunity to go back onto this Baron, and they're very healthy.
Not only did you lose a member in Xiye there, but Shadow also doesn't have the equalizer anymore because he dropped it. So I feel like you're missing a lot of your power. We're going to keep our eyes on Fearness to see if he can make a hero play.
Ooh, they're going to get the shockwave and the hook, the knock up there from the Desolate Dive as they jump straight back in on top of Kramer. He's trying to trade this one back. He gets one. Will not be able to get any more as the Fates call comes in. Mark, though, will use his stopwatch to keep himself alive for those precious seconds. And now V5 get themselves back onto the Baron. They've got themselves a nice couple of kills, and they've got themselves an objective to maybe look to send this to a game 3. Oh, what's to say that
but
TP?
LGD want to contest. We see Fearness making his way over. Doesn't have the needlework anymore, and Shadow still doesn't really have anything.
Oh, the hook is fantastic. As Fearness goes in, though, he actually takes out the jungler. That's so important. LGD looking to try and maybe take this one back on top of this fight. The Devour onto Kepler to try and keep him alive. He is the damage. Double knock-up. Knock back. Aliez is by himself. Can take the Dark Passage, but can be followed straight away by Xiye on this Lee Sin. They've got enough damage, and oh my god, it's throw after throw after throw. Uniboy moving forward just has to run away. Is this a game of catch right now? Because both teams are just throwing this game left and right, trying to see who can catch it.
Not the highest level of League of Legends that we've seen here in the LPL, but it is something. As now once again a Baron start gonna come out. I mean, no members of Victory 5 are close. Uniboy does have Shockwave available, but I like that LGD are doing a nice job of zoning him out so far. So this should be a potential Baron for LGD, but both PZX and Reheal are getting pretty close. LGD actually not burning this as quickly as I expected them to.
Well, they're going to go in. They're going to kill off Uniboy straight away and go back and kill the Baron. Now, a minute time, they will have themselves an Infernal Soul, but there's the equalizer there. Oh, Reheal. I love the idea. Sadly, Mark had some of his own, and that's going to be 2 quick kills after the Baron. It's back up to a 4,500 gold lead. We are seeing LGD finally take control of this game 27 minutes in, and there's just no way they can stop this push. Honestly, I think you lose an inhibitor here, maybe even lose the base.
I mean, if LGD can find something else, which, let's be honest, Mark has been on point this series. We were highlighting Shadow coming into this series as a player to watch, but I feel like Mark has really been the standout for LGD, getting everything going so far.
Well, it looks like they're just going to take the inhibitor, roll back 15 seconds so that dragon spawns, take it as easy and as properly as you can. They have everything in their favor. There's no need to throw it away at this point in the game, and LGD are just going to be able to take this. Honestly, unless we do see some heroics from PZX, it's just not going to be enough. That dragon taken very, very low, very, very quickly. We are going to see PZX going to be jumped on by Fearness to jump in now. There's the equalizer. Down! He gets another steal. Shadow's number on the smite has been taken. Xiye here, jumping forward, does land the Q, takes out Uniboy. The Tahm Kench is dead as well. Yes, you got the Infernal Dragon, but are you going to lose the game off of this? That is the question. We see Xiye going in off of the Q. They're trying to keep Kepler alive. He used the cleanse. He's using the kiting back. You can see him. He's putting in so much damage, but not enough spears in the back of Xiye to get that one to stick. And now LGD, honestly, could just end the game.
Yep, LGD missing another smite, but in the end, it doesn't matter. When the enemy team overcommits to steal away the soul, which, let's be real, they probably had to, LGD gonna be happier picking up the game.
LGD will end their split 7-9. They will take the 2-0, and V5 will have another 0-16 split in summer 2021.
Yeah, a bit bittersweet for us here, Penguin. you know, as the resident V5 believer, maybe not as much, you know, this split without Mole on the roster, but still, as somebody always excited for 4v5, a bit sad that they go 0-16 again. Still trying to continuously make history with how many times they are able to do that one. So, you know,
a record is still a record, you know.
Exactly.
Like, it's still, you own it. No one else does.
On the opposite side, LGD, this really didn't mean anything, but it was Xiye's birthday. So once again, happy birthday, Xiye. You pick up a win.
Happy birthday, Xiye.
I think overall his recent performance was like fine to good. I think the one clip of him just flashing over the wall and missing the sonic wave just stands like vividly in my mind, is maybe corrupting that one a little bit. But I mean, he did find a lot of highlight plays. I think Kramer having a lot of confidence in that last game. I loved how many times he would walk into his members, look for these like 1v3s, and at least always be able to pick someone off. So for LGD, they end on a bit of a high note. Both of these orgs and teams, right, you're going to be looking towards next year. What do you change? What are the pieces you want to keep? What are the highlights? And yeah, Penguin, I think these were the games that we expected, right? We saw it going to Dragon Soul both times. We saw it kind of stall for team fights, play a lot off of mistakes. But at least we got some action, we got some proactivity, and we got some personality from both sides.
I think that's all we wanted from this one. We got some, you know, fun times, bad times, some misplays, some outplays. It was all there in some way, shape, or form. As we now look to see the end of game screen here. Of course, final series for both of these squads. They are now finished with their 16th series of the season. They are locked and loaded to where they can do no more. Of course, we are 2.5 days away from the end of our regular split as well. So coming in fast. We're starting to get a more definitive picture. It's mad to think that we only have about 5 series left and we still don't know exactly where everyone's going to be finishing at the end of the split.
I was going to say, if we're not getting closer to a more definitive picture when we actually only have 2 days left after this, there would be a massive problem there. So, you know, thank God that's happening. And as we see the damage graph, just to hit on this game, you know, a little bit more, I would have highlighted and praised Fearness, but I really feel like I'm past the point of, you know, like when a Gwen's having an exceptional performance, especially when the enemy team not really having a way to not perfectly countering on the opposite side of the map, or not looking for prio through mid to turn that somewhere else. Like, we just saw Fearness allowed to play his own game, had prio the whole time, and was able to dictate these team fights. It's like, it's a Gwen, she's gonna thrive under those circumstances anytime. Still, Fearness able to pilot the champion to its fullest up against V5.
Yeah, I think LGD will be happy enough to say they ended on a high. They go to 7-9. Nothing too bad about that scoreline. I think 7-9 almost got you into playoffs in spring. So again, just because of how incredibly competitive our setup is this year, that it's just not enough. You know, it's just not enough.
So,
actually, I believe it was 8-8. I believe was actually what it is. So you're 1 game off of it technically.
But even our 11th place team didn't have 7 wins. It was BLG with 6. So you're right. You would have been like right on the cusp of that edge of, hey, are you a playoff team? Are you not? As we do get MVP, and despite the fact of that one play really kind of souring my experience of Xiye this game, he did have a good game overall, is going to be the one to pick up our MVP. And Xiye is the other member, right, that we've hit on all split long. We've hit on Xiye, Shadow, Xiye, Shadow, Xiye, Shadow, being the 2 players that have kind of shown a higher ceiling of what they're able to do on this roster. And nice to see Xiye putting up another good performance once again.
Yep, happy birthday, Xiye. A win, an MVP, and a birthday surprise. No solo kills for Uniboy onto Xiye either. So gonna have to RSVP on that gift as we see some couple of good highlights. And again, this was just Xiye and Fearness basically roaming around as a 2-man death squad to try after so many scrappy fights where they died, they respawn, they immediately pick up a kill, they die again, they respawn. It was just a lot of scrappiness.
I mean, both teams were just continuously trying to overreach for objectives they really couldn't, weren't respecting like bases or enemy tempo or windows coming out on the map at all. And it opened up for a lot of these messy skirmishes where champions on LGD side really do find favorable fights, right? We didn't get to see a lot of great equalizers come out from Shadow this game, sadly. Again, overall, if you haven't been watching all split, he did have a great rumble earlier on. Definitely a bit of an outlier game, but Gwen, Lee Sin, champions that just love these types of chaotic skirmishes and can use their agency to really make a lot happen in such chaotic, divided fights.
Yeah, we haven't seen Rumble for a while because of the nerfs that he received. I think there is a reason for that, as sadly for LGD, 7-9, they are now finished with the LPL summer split. They will no longer play any more games, so that means they have a long